Today we're back on the Am I the A-hole subreddit and it's going to be so fun. It's a beautiful day today and a beautiful day to read something like this. And as always, thank you for joining me for another adventure, guys. I really appreciate it. And let's get straight into it. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for giving my son non-vegan food behind my wife's back? I 32 male and my wife is 33 female. We've been married for 8 years and we have a 12-year-old son together. About 6 years ago, my wife decided to go vegan. She was sent the documentary Dominion by a vegan friend of hers, and ever since has said that non-vegan food is revolting and refuses to eat it. After a long conversation, I agreed to go vegetarian and be vegan in the house and around her, which she was happy about. She also decided that our son should be vegan, which after seeing a dietitian I also agreed with. Things have been fine with this arrangement until a few months ago when I began finding wrappers from non-vegan candy and even burgers from McDonald's in my son's school bag, which he'd been buying with chore money. I had a conversation with my son and he confessed he felt lonely and excluded eating vegan around his friends, and that they always had much better looking candy than he did and it wasn't fair. I decided I didn't want him spending his pocket money on snacks and throwing out the vegan snacks that we actually bought him instead of buying games, etc. It made no sense, but I also know the way that my wife feels about non-vegan products, so I began buying my son what he wanted on our way to football practice instead. Long story short, my wife recently found out what's been going on and completely flipped out. She called me an animal abuse enabler and a few other names and said I was corrupting our son. Now she's not speaking to me. Our son panicked and told her I had bought the snacks for him and he didn't know they weren't vegan. I don't blame him for that. He doesn't want to be in trouble with his mum. Am I the a-hole here? Nah, definitely not. Your wife is 100% in the wrong. It's not something that you should force upon everybody, and they're being so extreme about it. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. I think my answer at this point would be our son is old enough to decide what he wants to eat and what his dietary preferences are. If we put him into a situation where he feels he has to hide things from us, that's on us. If your wife is confronting him about this in any kind of intimidating way or trying to make him feel guilty with the same phrases she's using on you, I'd prioritize your son and his needs and well-being. Crap like this can cause a lot of problems. Yeah, nah, definitely not the a-hole. You're looking out for your son. They're obviously majorly uncomfortable about this, or being made to feel majorly uncomfortable and guilty, which, yeah, is not good. Am I the a-hole for going on vacation without my husband? My husband, 32 male, and I, 29 female, planned a week vacation to New Orleans in the US. We, but mostly I, have been planning this for months. Back in March, I told him I'd plan most of it, where to go and what to do. All he has to do is make sure that he had the week off and buy the plane tickets. I spent the last few months researching what to do. I booked a hotel room, made reservations at places we wanted to try, and I made a list of all the sites I wanted to see. Every few weeks I'd check in with my husband to see if he'd asked for the time off and brought the tickets yet. He would say he was waiting for the plane ticket prices to go down. 3 weeks ago I reminded him again and he said he got off work for the days but he'd forgotten to get the tickets. He looked online and the tickets were close to $1,500 a ticket. He said he was going to wait some more to see if they'd go down. Last week I asked if he'd bought them yet and he said no. We looked again and the prices were still high. He said he wasn't willing to spend that much on them and asked how much money I would lose if I just cancelled everything instead. He offered to have a nice staycation instead. I told him I wasn't willing to cancel everything because I spent so much time planning it. We argued and we didn't come to a conclusion. I wound up buying just one ticket for myself, and when I flew out Saturday, I told him I was still going and he acted all surprised that I didn't want to stay home with him. I'm in New Orleans now and he's blowing up my phone saying that I'm an a-hole for still going without him. He was trying to get a ticket to come too, but I told him if he came, he's getting his own hotel room because this is now my vacation away from him. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I don't know about this one. $1,500 plane tickets. Like, I feel like it needs a lot more context. Obviously, the husband should have been organized, and plane tickets usually get more expensive, not cheaper. But like, is the husband super worried about money or something? Because that's going to be an expensive lot of plane tickets, and obviously that's not all the cost. There's going to be so much more stuff on top of this. Like, there's definitely a communication problem, and I don't like how they went and they said that it's a holiday away from them. It just does not sound healthy, you know? And also, how much cheaper were the plane tickets before? Were they much less than $1,500? Because that's an insane amount of money for tickets. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're the a-hole, and it does say not the a-hole on here. Did the husband just not want to go? And if they didn't want to go, obviously they should have said something. It seems like a communication problem, I feel like. Was this all mainly your idea and you were sort of putting it on your husband? I feel feel like it's sort of complicated. But yeah, I feel like it's not the a-hole, but also really unhealthy, you know? Like this comment says, it sort of looks also like they have some sort of separate finances. So maybe he was willing to throw OP's money at the wind so he could save the plane ticket money. In my opinion, he didn't want to go to begin with, and instead of communicating, he came up with this insane plan. Good for you for going no matter what. I wonder if this is a common occurrence in their marriage. Am I the a-hole for telling my son he needs to get over us missing his wedding? My son got married a few years ago. He lives on the other side of the country than us. He got a great job opportunity after college, so he moved down. 2 years ago, he got married to Jenny, and what I heard, it was a beautiful wedding. So the whole issue started when we were trying to get there. The wedding was on Saturday, and our plane left Thursday night. Well, it got delayed, and then delayed about 4 more times, Friday morning at this point. And then all the planes got cancelled due to a storm. When that happened, it was obvious that we were not leaving, and driving there would take too long, and we'd still miss the ceremony. So we informed him, and he was pissed. We sent our well wishes, and we could FaceTime if he wanted. He told us no, and we saw a video of his getting married. Now, the present day issue is that anytime we get in an argument, or he wants us to do something, he pulls the "we missed his wedding" card. We were talking over the phone, and we were talking about hosting Thanksgiving this year. He got mad, saying, "Why won't you visit us?" And I told him we don't have the money for the trip, and we just saw him in July. Since it was unclear, yes, we visited him and went to him. More detail in a comment. We got in an argument, and he pulled the "you missed our wedding, it's the least you can do." I told him enough, and that he needs to get over it. He called me a jerk. My daughter learned about it as she's on our side, but I don't know. Edit to make it more clear in the July part. Also, because it has been asked a lot, yes, we looked into other airports and the planes were grounded also. We're from Maine, and the store was going through our state and then riding down the east coast. We weren't getting a flight, and yeah, we looked. It basically blocked travel for 2 days. If we did go down a state or two, we'd be following the storm and we wouldn't get a flight. Nah, not the a-hole. It sounds like you did everything you could do. There was a comment here somewhere that said it was a 30-hour drive. Like, yeah, it sucks to miss their wedding, but it sounds like you couldn't really do anything. It's not fair that they keep making you feel bad about it. Yeah, like the top comment says, not the a-hole. It sounds like you and your husband made all of the reasonable efforts to get there, and it just wasn't going to happen. Personally, I would have still drove to at least have gotten to the reception and celebrate, but that's just me. That being said, that's a big milestone that you missed, and it's going to take time for him to get over it, but it's not fair for him to use it as a weapon against you anytime that things don't go his way. He needs to find a way to make peace with the situation without lording it over you for all time. And they responded, we thought about it, but we decided we wouldn't be able to do the 37-hour drive. We didn't feel like it was the safest option since the storm was happening, and it's a super long drive without any breaks. We would have had to do no breaks to get there for the party, and even then we were unsure that we'd make it. Yeah, super unfortunate, but not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my overly sheltered niece that Santa isn't real? My sister Ray, female 42, was trying to have a kid for a long time but struggled with infertility. After years of trying and money spent on fertility, she finally had a miracle baby. Since Ray and her husband view Sue's existence as a miracle, they treat her as one. Yeah, we've read similar stuff to this before, and it's not good. From the time that she could vocalize her want, she got everything that she wanted, and as a result, Sue is kind of a nightmare. Whenever our family gets together, we have to do whatever she wants. We have to eat whatever she wants to eat, whatever movie she wants to watch, and we can't do anything outside, even though the rest of the family loves the outdoors, because Sue hates nature and will literally scream if she gets so much as a bit of dirt on a shoe. We had to stop doing Christmas together because she'd throw tantrums if my kids got something that she wanted. I kept telling Ray that she's only setting Sue up for failure by spoiling her. Sue has no friends at her school because she doesn't understand that other kids aren't going to give her whatever she wants because they don't see her as a miracle the way her parents do. She also has a bunch of mannerisms that other kids that age grew out of years ago. She still picks her nose in public and whines and whimpers when things don't go her way, still shops at Justice, and still believes in Santa and the Easter Bunny. Ray won't listen to me and says I should let kids be kids, ignoring the fact that Sue will be a teenager soon. Last weekend we all gathered at my parents' house and Sue was writing a letter to Santa, like she did every year. Of course, it was pages and pages long with a list of the most outrageous things a 12-year-old could think of. I wasn't planning on saying anything, I never do, but one day while Ray was away, Sue and my son Finn, male 9, came running to me. Sue clearly had been crying and Finn looked rather smug. They both asked me if Santa was real. Normally Sue would never ask me to resolve her issues, but her parents weren't there, and I wasn't going to coddle her the way her parents did. I said Santa wasn't real. The minute Ray got home, Sue ran to her crying and screaming that I told her that Santa wasn't real. Ray tried to calm her down and told her, of course, that Santa was real and that I was lying. When Ray put Sue down for a nap, yeah, you read that right, she scolded me. She said I had no business trying to parent her child child. I then told her that she wasn't parenting her child, so someone had to. Maybe the first step to self-awareness for her is learning that Santa isn't real. I was hoping that Ray would wake up and see the reality of the situation, but now she's just ignoring my texts and calls. When I told my husband about everything, he wasn't as supportive as I thought he would be. He agrees that Sue is unbearable, but it's not my place to fix that, and what I did probably did more harm than good. Should I have just said that Santa was real and not gotten involved in this situation? Yeah, like obviously, they're raising their kid to be an entitled brat, and that's not good in any way, but I don't know, I don't feel like you should have said anything here. Like, you're not an a-hole, but I sort of feel like this sort of stuff is definitely for the parents, even though the parents in this situation should definitely say this, and they're obviously doing a lot of stuff wrong. It's still not your job, but also then you'd be lying to your son in front of your niece. Yeah, I don't know, because on one hand, they're 12, they're gonna find out pretty soon anyway, and they were just sort of confirming what their son asked them. They weren't being like, hey, Santa's not real, but also on the other hand, like they could have sort of avoided answering it, or said they didn't know, or to like ask their mum or something. But is that your job? Like, I don't know. Am I the a-hole for selling our house without informing my wife? My wife and I have been married for many years, but before we got married, I'd built up a substantial wealth. When we got married, I opted for a prenup agreement and complete separation of assets. She also had significant premarital wealth. Besides the house we currently live in, I still own a beautiful apartment in the same city that I usually rent out, but it's currently vacant. Over the past 2 years, we've had many discussions about moving to a smaller town and getting a house near the beach. 2 months ago, we bought the house for our upcoming move. We've already made the renovations we wanted and bought the furniture, and we'll be moving into the new house soon. Since we won't be living in this city anymore, I didn't see a reason to keep the house we currently live in, and I sold it without notifying my wife. How do you even do that? Considering it's solely my asset, I didn't see the need to inform her in advance. Plus, selling and buying property is always a stressful process. How was your day, honey? Oh yeah, very good. I did this and this and this. I also sold our house. Like, how does that not come up in conversation? On the day I finalized the sale, I told her that I'd sold the house, and she was furious with me for not letting her know. She mentioned that she still needs a residence in this city and intends to come here frequently. I explained to her that I still have the apartment, which we can use whenever we need to be in the city, so there shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, but this isn't something that you keep private, and even though you own it, they still live there. She remains upset with me, claiming that I didn't treat her like a wife by not involving her in such an important decision. On the other hand, I believe I didn't leave her without an address in the city, and the house was always exclusively my asset. Just as she has her own wealth, she argues that it's a completely different situation because it's the house that we've been living in, and we're moving in the next few days. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I'm impressed that there are over 3,000 responses. Just to clarify a few things, we have about 45 days to move out of the house, and we already had our move to the new house scheduled for the upcoming days. I thought she agreed to sell, as we both agreed that the house was too big and required a lot of maintenance, so selling it was always the next step. Yeah, of course you should have brought this up. I can't believe that's even a question. Yeah, like this comment says, like, this is your wife, whom you live with and presumably have for years, and you basically just pulled the rug out from under her. Living arrangements changing should not be a unilateral decision like this, and they certainly shouldn't be sprung on someone out of nowhere. Yeah, nah, there's got to be more to this. Like these comments say, OP is definitely hiding the reason why they didn't tell their wife. Nobody can be this obtuse. Yeah, I mean, this wasn't just that he didn't tell her. He had to actively hide it. There's a lot that goes into selling a house. Yeah, 100%. So why did they feel like they should hide it? The next one is called, am I the a-hole for suggesting my wife lower her standards so that she'll be less overwhelmed? My wife, 37 female, and I, 38 male, have 3 kids, 12, 10, and 8. She's in a constant state of being overwhelmed and very easily irritated, constantly complaining about how it's all too much. I'm of course happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or the household, but it's never enough because her standards are too damn high. She insists that one of us has to be up at 6:45 every morning to make sure the kids are ready and make sure they're ready for the bus, which comes at 7:45. I told her they're old enough to not need that much help already. They can all dress themselves and pour themselves some cereal and milk. There's no reason we have to be up. She says that cereal isn't a good enough breakfast, they need something more substantial, especially the 12-year-old, and the 10-year-old has ADHD and will definitely struggle with that help in the morning. And anyway, she wants to see them off and kiss them goodbye for the day, so she gets up and I don't. Then she gets upset that I never give her a morning off, when all she needs to do is just take the morning off when she wants and let the kids handle themselves. Also, she's super strict about screen time during the week and is exhausted and snappy from arguing about it with the kids, and upset that I don't support her strict limit of 2 hours a day. That's not very strict, is it? I say that as long as homework is done, why not until bed? She says it's not healthy for them. time. They need to play outside or with games and toys, read some books, just entertain themselves in more ways than one. I agree they should enjoy other things, but not seeing why we should make such a rigid limit. She also likes to get out on weekends and do stuff like zoos and museums, etc., but then complains about the planning for the outing and how grouchy the youngest gets by the end of it. And again, I say let's just chill at home and voila, you've cut the work. I'm an engaged and active parent. I'm not trying to get out of it, but I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own created holes. She creates the stress for herself and then turns to me to alleviate it, which I think is unfair. Am I the a-hole for telling her she needs to do less and then she won't need this level of help? Yeah, there's nothing unreasonable about what they want. 2 hours of screen time a day, that's plenty fine. Being up by like 7 o'clock in the morning, that's not that extreme. And yeah, God forbid they want to do some stuff on the weekends. Like what? Yeah, like this comment says, I'm an engaged and active parent. Does anybody but you think this? You the a-hole. Breakfast, a screen time limit, and weekend activities are absolutely normal standards. Yeah, 100%. That's super reasonable. So reasonable that you're not going to want to lower your standards, because then you're getting into lazy territory. Am I the a-hole for shutting down a girl's attempt to diagnose me with an eating disorder? I lost my leg when I was very young from a hospital-acquired infection. I have a prosthetic leg which I use for walking and another one for running and exercise. When I was on my parents' health insurance growing up, I got refitted pretty regularly as I grew up. Now I'm too old to be on my parents' insurance, and while my company's insurance is considered very good, getting a new leg or getting adjustments for my body weight are still expensive. I expect to be paying a fortune if I get pregnant, so I try my best to stay the same weight, and if I gain some weight, I can immediately feel it becoming less comfortable to walk. Anyway, a friend's girlfriend and I were talking, and she began remarking on how I'm not eating much. Okay, here we go, somebody who needs to mind their own business. We were out to dinner, and I was having a soup and a salad, and everybody else was having baby back ribs and stuff. I'd stolen a few from my boyfriend's plate, but generally I was trying to eat light. I said I was trying to lose a few pounds, and she immediately assured me I was beautiful the way I was and I didn't need to lose weight. I told her I know I am, but losing weight helps with my mobility. She began diagnosing me with an eating disorder, saying I must have had a delusion and I was very heavy and having issues walking. I was pissed, and she sounded super condescending and blurted out that she had no business talking down to me about my weight, even if it was to tell me to not change it. The other people overheard, and the girlfriend got really embarrassed and left with the friend soon after. My boyfriend thinks I should have explained why I need to keep my weight the same, but I don't think I have to pull out my disability to get her to shut up. Wearing long loose pants, it's often hard to tell that I have a prosthetic leg. I don't know if she knew, but I didn't feel like justifying why my weight needed to stay the same. But am I the a-hole for shutting down her attempts to diagnose me with an eating disorder? Wait, so what did they say? That you must have a delusion or something? Yeah, it's not anybody else's place to speak on stuff like this. Definitely not the a-hole. It's so rude and frustrating when you know why you're doing something, and other people are like, oh, well, you must be doing it for this reason and this reason and this reason. And yeah, that's not their place to say anything. And a lot of the time, it's just them projecting as well. Am I the a-hole for not returning a gift that my brother-in-law bought for my daughter because my sister wants it for her child? Pretty much what the title says. My 31 female daughter, Maddie, just turned 4. We had a family birthday party for her, including my mum, stepdad, sister Liv, her husband Stephen, their 5-year-old Callie, and my brother Jay. We were all except Stephen staying at our place overnight, but Stephen had a family event the night before, so came the day of the party. When he arrived, he brought Maddie's birthday present, which was one of those motorized ride-on cars. Liv didn't say anything, but she was quite clearly surprised, but I didn't take it too seriously because she did say that she'd left Stephen in charge of the presents, since he has the more flexible schedule, so I assume she just didn't know what he got. I also noticed that Callie was upset and wanted to play with the car a lot. 2 days ago, I got a call from Liv asking me if I could return the car to them, as Callie really wanted it. I thought this was way out of line to ask, and I said no. Liv is now saying that I'm the a-hole since I could easily afford to buy another one for Maddie, but she and Stephen can't. I could buy another one, but it was Maddie's gift. I think it's absurd that she's asking for it back. My parents say since it's causing issues, I should give it back, or give Callie one also, but I think this whole thing is ridiculous. Am I the a-hole? Nah, definitely not. Like the top comment says, not the a-hole, your sister is really rude. I think she's pissed that her husband bought an expensive gift for your child and used her child as an excuse to get it back. Yeah, they're 100% in the wrong. And yeah, that's super rude. And the original poster commented, my daughter likes it. She'll use it until she finds something else she likes, I guess. It wasn't something she ever asked for. If in a few months my daughter doesn't want it and Liv still does, I'll just give it to her. Yeah, definitely not the a-hole. And I feel like that's enough for today. So ready to read something wholesome. I love the sound cats make when you touch them and they're not expecting it. You know the one I mean, the activation noise. Yeah, it's so cute, isn't it? Cats in general are just so so beautiful. Guys, my grandma lost contact with her best friend 40 years ago, and she moved, and after years of searching, we finally found her, and they reunited. Wow, that's so beautiful. Oh, love seeing stuff like this. Forever best friends. That's so awesome. 911, what's your emergency? Dog. My owner is gone for 0.2 seconds. 911, have you tried eating the couch? Oh, we don't deserve pets. They're too beautiful. I want my rats to grow up with positive role models, so we watch Ratatouille together. Gravy was really into it. Oh, little Gravy. I hope Gravy's having a good day today. And once again, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more Am I the A-hole, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Lady Labyrinth 1337. I don't want to believe these people exist, but I've dealt with so many entitled people that I know they do. Yeah, I feel ya. It's not fun, is it? Like, oh my god, how can this be a real person? Please tell me it isn't. No, it definitely is. Very concerning, isn't it? Thank you guys again for all your support. That was another adventure, and I'm already excited for tomorrow. And as always, make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!